Mute your mic so that the noise doesn't interfere with what you are doing. Then if you want to talk or if you have a question, you can on your mic, you can unmute your mic and ask question. Then if I ask question, I'll call your name, you can unmute your mic, then talk to us, then mute your mic again so that the noise in your background will not interfere with what you are doing. So can you see the course material? Can you see it?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. So we'll start from where we stopped in the class. We stopped at advantages and disadvantages of powders, right? As a dosage form. I think we are done with that one. So we are moving to the next thing. Which is how the things that has to do with the storage of powders. I told you I'll send you a video on how powders are packaged, how the papers how to fold pepper for wrapping powder. I will do that. Please remind me of that. I will send it to you. Now, we'll continue from where we stop. Let's look at shelf life and storage of powders. Shelf life and storage of powders. We'll start with internal powders. For internal powders, the shelf life is around 2 to 4 weeks. Do you know what is shelf life? Have you heard of the term shelf life before? Okay. When you say shelf life, after production or after manufacture of drug, the the time the drug is expected to stay and still be stable and okay. Sometimes it may be up to, depending, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the nature of the drug anyway. So how long the drug can stay and still be okay. Am I communicating? To a layman understanding it, a layman may just call it expiry date. Am I communicating? Expiry date. Expiry date is just the particular date, but shelf life is number of, either depending on the drug. Some may be 1 year, some may be 2 years, some may even be just 1 week. Am I communicating? 2 weeks. Sorry. Am I communicating? So that is they got it from the in the pharmacy. You display the medicine on the shelf. Am I communicating? On the shelf. So they got it from the shelf. They display medicine in pharmacy, trying to portray how long it can stay on the shelf and still be okay. Maybe after like 3 years, maybe it would have degraded. It would have degraded to the extent that it is no longer okay for consumption, or it cannot even treat anything again, or it would have even degraded to produce even some other chemical that may be poisonous to the system. So it's better to discard it. That's when they say that the drug has expired. I don't know if what I explained is clear.
Yes.
Good. So when you hear shelf life of internal powders is 2 to 4 weeks, what it means is that after compounding, within 2 to 4 weeks, it should be used within 2 to 4 weeks. After which, it's no longer good for what use. It should be discarded. Am I communicating? Good.
Yes.
So that is what you mean by what shelf life. Then proprietary proprietary powders have longer shelf life. because of protective packaging. Do you know what a protective powder is?
No.
Now let me explain. Sometime, I think I made mention of um alabukum powder, right? I made mention of
Yes.
something like alabukum powder. It's an example of a proprietary powder. What it means is that they have formulated it, and the company has given it a company. It has a trademark. Is a company owns it, and they package it well with other protective packaging, so that it will be protected from external moisture and other things, air that operates. If you use ordinary, you cannot compare it when you use ordinary paper, wrapping paper to wrap it. It's different from when you use. So you have you ever touched what they use to package a lab powder? Is it ordinary paper?
No.
So it's not ordinary paper. So they package it well so that to protect the drug. It can last more than 2 weeks. It can even last up to 2 years, 3 years, because of how it is packaged. That's what this what I'm talking about when I say that proprietary powders often have longer shelf life because of their protective packaging. Now, generally, the storage of powder should be stored in such a way that it should be free from moisture and air. Am I communicating? It should be free from moisture and air. So storage of powder should be moisture proof. So whatever you use, no matter what you are trying to do, how you are trying to store it, how you are trying to package it, it must be free of moisture and air. Very, very important, so that they will not affect the drugs. Now let's look at for external powders. For external powders, shelf life for external powders is 4 weeks. Shelf life for these things are extemporaneously prepared powders. I hope you know. It's not the one they formulated. It's not the one they formulated in the industry. No, I mean extemporaneously compounded powders. Their shelf life is for external powder is 4 weeks. Shelf life for external powder is 4 weeks. Now, now, just like as you have in internal powder, you should also make sure you protect it. You protect it from where? From atmospheric condition, from moisture and what have you. Basically, dry powders should remain stable. Of course, they remain stable for a long period of time if packaged and protected from atmosphere. Once you package them and protect them from atmosphere, they can stay for They can stay stable for a long period of time. Then generally, you have always been seeing this in the packaging of most drugs, most medicines. They will tell you to do what? Store in a cool and dry place.
Like
Do you
this.
know why they say store in a cool and dry place? Let's start from cool. They say store in a cool. They're not saying that you should carry it and go and put in freezer. It's not what they're talking about. That you should go and put it in. Even though there are some drugs like um like um there are some drugs like vaccines that should be stored cold chain. We call it cold chain supply. We know that one, but generally, basically, most drugs are supposed to store in a cool. What you mean a cool? Not in a hot environment, because high temperature degrades these active ingredients. High temperature has negative effect on the active ingredients. So it should be kept in a place that is cool, not hot. And in the same way, it should be placed in a place that is also dry to avoid moisture coming in contact with the medicine. So you should store in a cool and dry place. Store in a cool and dry place. Did you do container in your BDT 151? Did
No.
did did you do container in BDT 151? Wow. Okay, it's okay. Container. When I say container, I'm not talking about the container they used to import goods from China. I mean container. Just okay. Let me for that now. You now if you go and buy cough syrup. You go and buy cough syrup. That bottle in which they pour they that contains that syrup is the container. Am I communicating? Is the container.
Yes.
Why the cover they used to cover that bottle is called closure. Am I communicating? So containers and closures is are topics you are supposed to do in your ability 151. But I'm surprised that you are if we did not do it. Don't worry. We'll see. We'll just be bringing up all those things one after the other gradually. By the time we finish this course, you would have touched most of these things. Now, but still read that material you were given. Read that my material that you are given in your first year. Go through it. Containers and closures we are fully explained there. Please go through them. It will help. They'll help you. Don't relax because you have passed first. You are now in second semester. Please try to grab anything you missed in that material. Now, let's look at containers for internal powders. How do they look like? Let's look at what containers in what in for what internal what powder. I want to ask a question. Um, um, internal powders and external powders. Which one are commonly dispensed as wrapped individual which one is commonly dispensed as divided powder?
Internal powder.
Good, internal powder. Good. Now let's continue. So now these extemporaneously prepared wrap powders are often dispensed in a paperboard box. Now after wrapping this internal powder one after the other, am I communicating? After wrapping in different paper, they arrange. Who has seen titin powder here before? Who has seen titin powder? The packet itself.
I've not seen it.
If you get it comes in a small box in a small paper box. Inside that small paper box, those individually wrapped powder are arranged, packed inside that small paper box. Am I communicating? So these individually wrapped powder are packaged in a smaller box. We call it paperboard box, where they now arrange this individually wrapped powder. This is how it is packed. Now, but some of these proprietary proprietary internal powders have some additional sophisticated packaging. Some put okay, if you've seen Andrew, if you've seen Alabukum powder, you've seen Alabukum powder, right? From
Yes.
not the individually wrapped, not the individually packaged powder in the pack itself. Who has seen the pack itself? If you have seen the pack itself, please, after each of this lecture, try to go around. Just make friends with any place you have pharmacy, or better, maybe when you go home now for this long vac, as we do this class in the morning, still go around, see whether you can get see a pharmacy close to your place. You try to see all these things physically, see them live. You will appreciate them better if you see them than just listening to lectures without having a practical experience of what I'm talking about. Now, if you see Alabukun powder packet, of course, what is the content of Alabukun? What is the major component of Alabukun powder? Huh? What is the major component of Alabukun powder? Aspirin.
No idea.
Aspirin. 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 You can Google it. You can go to MDEX. You can check it up in MDEX and find out whether there's any other component, and get back to me tomorrow morning. Check your MDEX. Check MDEX tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning in our next class, you tell me what are the contents of alabukum powder. Assignment. Am I communicating? Is it clear? Find out the components and let me know. Now let's continue. Now, it is preferable to use a screw top glass or plastic container. Do you know why it's better to use a plastic container than just paper box? It is better to use a plastic container or screw top glass. That is, after packaging it in individual paper or sachet, it's better to use a plastic container or use a screw top glass. The reason is that these two containers provides airtight seal, as in they can protect it against air and even against moisture more than paperboard box. If you use a plastic container that you can easily cover the mouth well, or use a screw top glass, it can protect it against moisture and the air better than just paper board box. So it is recommended to. That's why, in fact, most companies that are into this divided powders are now, they package it and put in. So some of them put their own in plastic container and they seal it well. Some still use glass anyway. Some still use paper, but not light. All these, their paper, thick paper, so that it can still go a long way protecting it against moisture. Or they will use, instead of using ordinary paper to as sachet, they use other material that is not paper to as sachet. Normally, when we do packaging of tablets and capsule, we look at the materials they use, the PVCs and other materials they use that provide this. They use as a packaging material for some of these medicines. Now let's continue. Please, as we go, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Don't keep quiet. Feel free to ask. Now, what of bulk powders? Are there bulk powders that can still be used for internal use?
No.
Are there bulk powders for internal use?
No.
Can you put that in?
Maybe.
Can you put that in?
Maybe there is.
Huh? Can you put that
Maybe
in?
there is.
There is
No.
bulk powder for internal use.
I don't know. I was thinking. There is no book for internal use.
Okay.
This augmentin, IV augmentin, it's just the powder in that bottle. That one is in bulk or divided.
You are going far. IV augmentin is it for internal use?
Yes, it's for they mix it with injection water and inject.
What that tell you about drug product that are internal use for internal use? Where do I say that they are how are they administered? Internally used powders. Enteral, not pepper, not parenteral. Can you remember? From where? Through where?
Through mouth.
Good. Now, mist mag we talked about in your class today. Is it a bulk powder or divided powder? Mist mag we talked about today. Antacid. for in
But
the
liquid form.
mixed mark powder. I'm not talking about the liquid form. The powder is there's one that comes as powder.
Yep. It's a bulk powder.
Is it a bulk powder?
Yes.
Is it used internally or externally?
It's internal.
And you told me here with boldness that bulk powders are not used internally. This can serve as a wonderful OBJ question. Please read in between line. Read in between line, okay? Read in between line. Let's continue. Now, okay, look at this thing now. You see some containers there. You see, let's look at container for external powder. So powders for external use may be packed in glass, metal, or plastic container with a sifter type cap. Sifter type what? Cap. Some are available commercially in pressurized containers containing other excipients as propellant or what? Lubricant. Now, what you're trying to say here is that basically container you use in packaging of pharmaceutical product is either they are glass or metal or what? Plastic. Either they are glass or metal or what? Plastic. Now, do you know what a sifter type cap is? Now, give me an example of external powder. You know.
Dusting powder.
Dusting powder. How is the cap? How is the cap? You open it, right? You see dots there, right? You see some openings. You see openings now, right?
Yes, yes.
Through which you just shake it, the powder will come out from that opening. After the opening, you touch it again, it will cover the opening, right?
Yes.
That's a sifter type cap. Am I communicating?
Okay.
This is also a type of closure. How I wish you would be able to. If people did this in your face message, you would have understood what I'm talking about now. But no problem. That's what I'm doing now. You see, is that type of closure is what is called sifter type cap, because if you do it in is it clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, that will expose that will expose that openings. Is it clockwise? Kedu ndị na-ete nwa papa dị ebe ngwa kendi kulum ebe ọya.
Clockwise.
Is it clockwise? Clockwise is closing or opening. Clockwise is anti-clockwise is what?
Anti-clockwise
Is opening, right? Clockwise is what? So good. If you do it, it will shift. You will see that openings. You now bring out the powder. Then after you do it again, so that it will cover that entire cap. It contains both the one they shift and the one that has opening. Is what is called sifter type cap. It's a type of closure. That's why they say that powder for external use may be packed in a glass, metal. Have you seen dusting powder in metal container?
Yes.
Have you seen the one in plastic container?
Yes.
Have you seen the one in glass container?
No.
Okay, let me ask another question. Have you ever gone to eat and you maybe in a restaurant and you are given a salt that have a sifter container, sifter
Yes.
Now let's continue. Now this is what we call sifter type cap. Now we have 10 minutes to go. Once the thing goes off, we stop. Next day we'll continue, okay? All right.
Okay.
We have less than 10 minutes to go. I told you that we will not exceed 40 minutes in this class so that you can do other things you have to do. Tomorrow we'll continue. Now, there's some are available, apart from those that are available in a container that they use sifter type cap. Some are also available commercially in a pressurized container containing other excipients such as propellant and lubricant. There are some that are in. Do you know what you mean by a pressurized container? Now, let me give you an example. Do you know? Okay, let me get this. How many of you have used insecticide here?
Yes.
Insecticide. How many of you have used you even though it's not exactly, but it's the same mechanism. How many of you have used insecticide here? You notice that as they are packing the content of that insecticide. That thing is pressurized. That once you press it, it will propel. It will come out with. It will come out with. You don't pour it. Do you pour it? You press it.
No.
Because of how the thing was packed, it was pressurized. It was pressured inside that thing. If you press it, it will come out. It will come out like aerosol anyway. But there's some powder that can be packed in that way, although they don't come out as aerosol as you see in insecticide. But they are pressurized, and they have some excipient within them, propellant and lubricant that help it to come out. So what I want you to do is this: go. You can ask Google or any place you can get it. You can just find examples of powder in pressurized containers. Am I communicating? Write it down. Examples of powder in pressurized what? Containers. Just put it down, ask Google. In our next class we discuss it. Am I communicating? Because I want to see whether I can get let me see what you can come up with. If you see an image of it, any of them, get it. A typical example of anyone in the market, get it. Am I communicating? Yes. So examples of what? Powders, external powders, packaged in pressurized what? Container. The key word there is the key to say is pressurized what? Containers. Please. All right, let's continue. These are some examples of external powder. Who have used Johnson baby powder? Johnson baby powder. You see that cap is what? Is a sifter. Once you shift it, that pores will be exposed. You bring out the powder. Is it clear? Now let's continue. Even baking powder, even though it's not pharmaceutical anyway, but it's a type of powder, but it's not pharmaceutical. That one is in confectionery industry. Now, how do you now label internal powders? By the time you start a practical, you see the importance of labeling your pharmaceutical products. Now, how do you label, and what advice do you give to patients on the use of internal powder? Now, of course, we have discussed in the class when we treated it about the compounding. We said that the patient has to do what? Mix it with what? Water, right? Mix it with what? Water. Or you can mix with a suitable liquid. Give me an example of a suitable liquid we mentioned in a class.
What is water?
Yes. There's also another liquid you mentioned that some of you were like, there are some patients that may not take it because it can those that have ulcer. Can you remember in your class? Did you mention honey at all?
Yes, it's true.
Huh?
Yes, you mentioned it.
Now let's continue. Now you mix with water. So powders are usually mixed with water or another suitable liquid before taking, depending on their what solubility. Very important to depending on their what solubility. Now there's something about powders for babies. Powders for babies are placed directly into their mouth. Powders for baby are placed what? Directly into their mouth, followed by a drink to wash down the what? Powder. Powders for baby are directly. Who has given teething powder to a baby here? Who? Who has given teething powder to a baby here? Who among you have done that? Nobody.
No.
It's no longer in the market. It's no longer in use now.
Huh?
It's no longer in use.
Says who? Quem colher?
It's Katare.
Quem colher?
It's
Gonna make William Monday. Tell me now, yeah. You're laughing. Tell me. I didn't say that. I didn't say it's not true. I say who said it. You're laughing.
I said it. If you go to hospital, they talk against it. Yeah. They don't advise mothers or people to use it any longer.
Why? You don't know.
I don't really know their reason, but it's not longer.
Assignment 2, find out and let me know.
I have a question.
Okay, ask.
What is that powder used for?
Hmm?
What is it used for?
You know when children they start growing teeth. Am I communicating? They have a lot of symptoms. Some people believe that if they use it, it will help the teeth to come out. But the point is that it takes care of the symptoms that arise from the baby developing the teeth coming out. Some may not be eating well. Some may even start vomiting. Some may even start having fever. Am I communicating? So it just takes care of the symptoms of all those things. It's not that it does anything to anything to the teeth. Am I communicating? Now, in fact, said there are different liquid preparations that they normally give to such children. They give them baby Rex, some give baby Rex, some give and there's this popular one. Is it pecan or getting one? There's this popular one, but in all this it contains mainly paracetamol, chlorpheniramine. Am I communicating? It contains mainly paracetamol, chlorpheniramine. All these assignments I'm giving you people, take it serious. So.
Yes, that was the first one. I thought.
So you will not be putting it down.
The very first one you said.
Hmm. Hope you are recording this lecture.
Yeah.
After you listen to it now and grab it. Hmm?
Example of powder and pressurized content.
That's not the first one.
The first one is the major component of alaboko powder.
Then the same way, find out the component of teething powder.
Huh?
Find out the component of teething powder.
Mm-hmm.
Am I communicating? Just find out.
Yes.
Then you compare it with what I told you about that it just takes care of the symptoms, maybe that emanate from symptoms the baby is having as a result of developing the teeth. Just find out. If you find out, we'll talk about. We'll discuss it in class. Okay. All right. Now, another thing I also want you to know is that, of course, now bulk powder should be what? Bulk powder for internal use should be shaken and measured carefully before dissolving in what? Little water and taken. So before you